I have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
From the Carolinas, where the black and blue runs deep. Panther Pickle's on the mic, no secrets that he'll keep. Been here since day one, through the glory and the pain. Got opinions sharper than a linebacker's campaign. If you can't handle truth, well, buddy, here's the deal.
Hello, folks. How are we doing today? Welcome for another edition of Deal With It. This is Panther Pickle. I'm
You
here.
are with us here once again for the Monday night show. This is the Panther Pickle Show. Deal with it. Let me introduce my good friend, and he's super sour and super salty after this great big win at home by the Carolina Panthers. It's Panther Pickle.
What's up, folks? What's up, Deeze Skills? You know what? The Rams were the best team in the NFL. They ain't now. So, because the Carolina Panthers, well, they handed them their first loss.
Yes, sir.
Cole at Colby Griffin, tell me, sir, what's your opinion today?
I'm happy, Pickle. I'm still on an emotional high. I feel like we're trending in the right direction. I was just calm for the most part yesterday and watching the game with you guys. I felt like we had a chance all 4 quarters, and I usually don't feel like that against a team that's top tier in the NFC. I think we're just trending in the right direction. Our season is just now getting started. We need to treat it like we're 0-0. We still got a lot to play for.
That's a fact. Jake the Snake, my man, tell me what's your opinion this morning.
I'm like Cole. I'm kind of shell shocked right now. But if I learn anything from yesterday, it's that we can win against any football team. And Dave Canales, since he's been here, he's been teaching that resilience. That's his number one thing that he's got. Derek Brown saying since day one, he's been the same guy since he's been hired, and he's been teaching from practice to the regular season games that resilience, stay in the game, always finish. Man, I truly believe that we can win any football game if we play at our best.
That's right. That's right. And um, several of these guys were not really on the team at first of the year. A lot of them were just added through practice squad. So, we kind of beat the best team in the NFL with a lot of practice squad guys. I think that's an added benefit. Um, tell me, uh, Deeze, do you think that's a correct assumption?
Yeah. Barnes started. Getting Trevin Wallace back, I think, was big for the defense yesterday. It clearly helped out a lot. But Barnes still played fantastic, to be honest. Um, it's not like I really expected this Panthers defense to go out there and stop the Rams anyway. I mean, nobody else has. Why did I feel like that the Panthers are going to be able to stop them on Sunday? Nobody's stopping that Rams offense. We're just hoping to slow them down and to get 3 turnovers off of them. I mean, how impressive is that? 2 of them almost directly attributed to Derek Brown. How about that kind of play from your big man in the middle when we needed him? Out in there. getting his hand up in the red zone, popping that ball up to Nick Scott, making that strip sack at the end of the game where we needed him the most. I mean, have we ever seen Derek Brown get a strip sack before? Maybe once ever. I mean, that was so huge of a play that he made,
Right.
and Ransom
Absolutely.
getting that time on the field was a good thing. What about the cornerbacks? The cornerback, it was kind of quiet. I mean, yeah, I mean Stafford had some big passes on our cornerbacks, but to not have J.C. Horn in there, how good did we do? I think we did really good. When you consider Corey Thornton's hurt as well, I'm telling you, man. From what I've seen from this cornerback room this year, Pickle, we might be done. I mean, maybe we take a flyer cornerback somewhere, but
Right.
otherwise, I feel like the room is completely done. Mike Jack even further solidified himself yesterday
Right.
as the number two cornerback on this team with his first pick six of his career. And what I noticed from what I rewatched of the game is they kept going to those out routes. And Mike Jack he was on top of it. He's like, yeah, run another out and see what happens. And he's just standing there waiting for the ball, takes it to the house for a pick six. Just phenomenal job by the defense, Pickle. I don't think there's a single Panthers fan that expected our defense to go out there and hang with the Rams and force three turnovers, especially as long as it's been since Stafford has turned the ball over or threw an interception, I believe it was. He had
Mhm.
the league record for longest time or most passes without an interception. And then for us to come up with two during that game, phenomenal work by this defense and the young
Absolutely.
guys, including Ransom especially.
Absolutely. I'm glad from what I saw. I saw a lot of the older guys making plays. I saw the younger guys stepping up and making plays where they need to be made. And I feel so strong about Ransom's play. I don't think you can put him back in the bottle. He was kind of in the bottle in the background. I'm not certain how they could do it, but I think they've got to play him more than they've been playing him. He just looked so good out there with his hits and his sack. He did have a sack, and he really looked the part. I just I'm not exactly saying they should give him a starter over someone else, but um, because I mean Nick Scott had an interception yesterday, so I can't really down Nick Scott. So it
That was crazy. Scott had a good game. We can't really say anything bad about Scott. He's had a good year to be honest.
yes,
Scott's looked a lot better this year than last year. He's
right,
made big strides here. But the entire defense has. And that was something
right.
I was trying to get a question to you earlier, Pickle. Let me ask you now. How do you think that these guys have delivered above their expectations? What has really happened in this defensive room that where we've had rosters like this in the past that didn't deliver, but this roster, even though it's not star studded, it's delivering more than we've seen since 2017 from this defense. What has really changed, Pickle?
I think it's the attitude. I really do think it's the attitude on the coach. You know, uh, uh, a friend, Derek Brown, was on XM radio today, and he had made a statement that Canales is the same Canales today he met and got the phone call when he first hired him on. He said he doesn't change. If he's running he runs the offense on practice, and when he sees something he don't like, he makes them back up and do the thing over again. And I like to hear that. I think he's positive, but uh, he said he was also forceful sometimes on his opinions. He's the head coach, so I really like that. Um, uh, I believe that it's the coach's attitude and the desire by the players that not saying the other players didn't want to win, but the desire was okay, enough of this, let's win. Let's go out there, just put to work what we know, and let's win these games. I believe that's the leadership and is going a long way, and the desire to be better is going a long way. What do you think, Jake?
I mean, I think a lot has to do with the coaching. I really do think that these players, and as you allude to with Derek Brown, as he talked about Dave Canales on Sirius XM radio, that I mean, I think a lot of these players, especially veteran players, has bought into his coaching. I mean, I know I've criticized a lot of Dave Canales' play calling this year, but I mean, it's what these players are buying into. They really are buying into his coaching philosophy. They're wanting to play for this man, and I think a lot of it has to do with also having unbelievable rookie draft class that we've had, even undrafted. I mean, you look all the way down the board. I mean, we even had Corey Thornton, who was an undrafted. I mean, he was getting valuable playing time, and it was just unfortunate that he had a season-ending injury. But and then you look at our kicker; he's another undrafted. He's our starting kicker. We've had him all year long, and he's had clutch kicks that's won us football games. And then you got, like we just talked about, Ransom. I mean, he had an unbelievable day yesterday, and I do think a lot of it had to do with he was playing his natural safety position. I think his natural safety position is what Trevon Moraig's been playing. I mean, I think I really do. If you go back to watching Ransom, I mean, that played him at both positions at safety, but he played a lot better when he's down around the defensive line.
Oh, okay. I still think he'd play just as good at free safety, but I think if you get him out there, I think he could play where he needs to play, and Morig can play free safety as well. But it's going to be a tough time. I really don't want to put anybody on the bench with the motion we're on. 2 games left in the year, or 4 games left in this year. The Panthers are on a bye week this week. Let's just go ahead and if y'all tell me if you can hear this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That was my mistake, y'all. Hang on just a second. Let me pull it back up here.
And one thing I wanted to add to the previous
Go
discussion
ahead.
you were having with Jake is the fact that this is a record-setting amount of rookies on this Panthers roster.
Right.
That was something I was thinking about yesterday watching this game, and I'm like, yeah, that's a rookie. That's a rookie too. That's
Right.
another rookie. And to have guys that Dan selected, they're bought into it, into what Dave is preaching. First of all,
Right.
like Eric Brown was just talking about, and then second of all, look at how fast they're developing. We've been waiting for this for years. We've been cycling through coaches, waiting for this to happen, and now it's finally happened. It's really nice, Pickle, because I don't think that this is where I saw this team. It's just not. I
Right.
didn't think that we were going to really be. I was hoping that we could contend for the division, but we are really, really contending for the division, and we are very, very serious about being a playoff team. I
Right.
thought we might flirt with it. We're not flirting with it. We're
No.
barreling straight toward it.
Right. And I will bring that up in a minute. I truly believe that the Panthers can be division leaders, division winners. I really do. The only thing stands in our way is Tampa Bay, and I think that they'll stumble somewhere. Maybe the Dolphins, they'll stumble somewhere, and if they do, the Panthers got to be there to pick up the pieces. But we've got to keep winning. Our goal, and we still face them twice a week. So if all we do is keep winning, we'll take the division ourselves.
I
It's on the
agree, Pickle,
horizon.
wholeheartedly. I love that we have two of the games at the end of the season again. It's almost like the NFL know that we those two teams will be battling it
Right.
out.
Absolutely.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see how we do when the heat's on. We can do it because if you win the division, you get one home game, don't you? At least for the playoffs.
Right.
Yep, division winners, you get the first week as a home game. The only one that gets a bye is the number one seed, the number one division championship, so to speak. They're the only ones that get a bye.
Mm-hmm.
we're the only ones that can hear the audio, Pickle.
Okay. All right.
Yep, that was just us listening to it. So,
Yeah.
so
All right.
Derek Brown,
Sorry.
Derek Brown was talking about that final play and what he was going through. He was talking about how Dave Canales has really won over the locker room. Pickle was the other things he was bringing up that you wanted to mention. I know you had some points in there. Go ahead and mention your points from that.
Yeah. My point. One of my points was I thought it was what was fair to understand that Derek Brown said that Bryce and Canales take command of the practice. They take command of the team. So there's been a misconception out there that Bryce don't really lead. Bryce is a leader on that field. The misconception by some folks that Bryce isn't a true leader, he just follows everybody around, is an unfair assumption by people who are not there. When you talk to players, when you talk to coaches, nobody's giving Bryce a bad name or says he doesn't do this and he doesn't do that. Um, you know, uh, we're going to keep pounding with Bryce for the rest of this year, and I think maybe even after, if Bryce keeps looking this way, you're rest assured we'll keep him here next year and maybe another year after that. But that's a decision they'll make this off season. Um, I do like our upcoming schedule. Um, uh, I believe that uh, our upcoming schedule is very easy. After our bye, we take on the Saints in in New Orleans. Uh, I can see them making that a revenge game, a get back game, if you will. Cole, what do
We
you
should
think?
be hungry for that, Pickle. We should
Yes, sir.
definitely show up for that. There's no reason whatsoever to play flat against them and piss away what we got going on right now.
Yeah,
I want that game to look good, so I want you to play angry with some revenge on your mind and go ahead and put a number up on them.
No, that's exactly what it needs to be. I hope that's the case, Cole. Like
Hmm.
Pickle said, no
You
coming
can't
out
take them
flat.
lightly.
No coming out flat. They done thumped you in the head last time. And that was the home game, and this is the away game, right? So we need to get
Hmm.
real serious about this one. It's a lot harder to win on the road than it is at home in the NFL, and that's just the fact of the matter. So when the Saints come up after this bye week, we need to be healthy, we need to be hungry, like you said, and we need to be pushing for the win and not this throwing the ball to the flat mess, playing it safe and conservative. You know, Pickle talked a lot about that and how that was a poorly called game by Canales, and it absolutely was. And that's
right.
why I appreciate Pickle being that kind of guy to point it out. Whether you want to hear it or not, you got to deal with it. It's the truth, and we
Fact.
can't do that. We need to stretch the field with the
That's a
Saints for
fact.
sure.
Yep.
Jake, don't you think that Canales needs to call a very similar game to what he called against the mighty Rams?
Absolutely, and I mean, I'd even go back as far as the when we played the Falcons last. I mean, I think it's so wild that we had two different play calling, just two. I mean, almost it was almost like a coin, other side of a coin, so to speak, going from the 49ers game to the Rams game. It's just, I mean, there was a whole different feeling play calling wise, and just I don't know really what it was. It was so different. But I believe Dave Canales really got these guys where they need to be right now, and I think this bye is going to help us get healthy. And I think you got to kind of lean on your veteran players a little bit, like Derek Brown. Just lean on your veteran players a little bit, and I mean enjoy your break, but at the same time stay focused. You know what I'm saying? You got to stay focused because you cannot take the Saints lightly. I don't care what the record is. You're like y'all said, it's going to be an away game, and it is a division game.
Right, absolutely. Uh, the Panthers are heading into the bye this week, as we know. Canalo spoke today. He won't speak again until next week. But
Are they getting a week off this week? They might.
yes,
I think
yes, yes,
everybody leaves the damn
yes,
facilities.
they
That's
do.
probably a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of them will leave. I'm sure some of them will come back to the facility to get treatments, and
Right.
some guys may not be interested in traveling across the country or wherever their family lives, so they'll kind of hang around. I can see that. But it's good to get those treatments. Canales told reporters today that he expects J.C. Horn and Claudette Claris to be available after the bye. Um, uh, Offensive tackle Moten missed a series with an obligate injury. He was able to return though. Rookie safety Latham Ransom had a high 11 tackles and just a sack in his first start, but he did have a thumb injury in the game, and he should be. Um, uh, we're expecting him to still be good after the game. And offensive guard Robert Hunt will be considered week to week after this, after the bye. So there is hope that he could return. But Jake Kurhan, the offensive tackle that we draft or that we assigned in free agency,
I like him.
I do like him. He had his first start yesterday, and shout out to him. I do think that he is a he very well could end up being a solid piece as a feature here. 27 years old. I do like some of the offensive linemen we have, but let's be real. If you go looking through the season as you go and you build your team and you in the off season, I don't think it's likely that Austin Corbett, uh, um, Brady Christensen's name I'm slipping here, and Chandler Zavala all will come back. Chandler Zavala seems to get hurt a lot, so I think Jake Kurhan could. I think if he chooses to, he could make a very long. Uh, he could be here for a couple years. So I liked what I seen yesterday. What did you remember seeing him play, Jake Deeze?
Yeah, I mean, he's got ties to Dave Canales back in Seattle. Dave talked about those ties to
Right.
Seattle with Jake during his presser today. And I like the way he looked. I'd like to see him a little more violent in the running game, to be honest with you,
Hmm.
Pickle. He's such a big guy. He looks like he's almost being careful out there, not to not
Right.
to fall down or fall on somebody. I just want him to blast somebody and get him a pancake. I think he's got a little more to him than what he showed us already. I think it's almost uncomfortable for him to go out there and be thrown at guard. I think he's more natural of a right tackle. But of
Right.
course, we don't need him to take Taylor Moton's position. So he's thrown at right guard instead. Still the same side of the line, which works out well for the Panthers and for him. But I would like to see him get just a little more physical on the running plays. When he's in front of Rico Dowdle, I want him to run over the guy in front of him. And I know good and well at 6'6", 316, he can
Right.
do it, Pickle.
Absolutely, he can. And that I noticed during the game yesterday there was multiple times, and it was pointed out in some of the clips that I saw today that Bryce has such a lot amount of time, a lot amount of time.
It makes
Uh,
a big difference in what he
yeah,
does, Pickle.
right, right. Uh, um, Rich Gannon also stated on XM Radio today. He said he thought that the Panthers had built one of the best offensive lines in the league from he watched that game. He said I had to go back and rewatch it because I could not believe how good that offensive line played. Then I looked it up and I realized that they had two backups in, and one of those backups was a guy off the practice squad. He said, "How can you be that good and your starters ain't even playing?" So he said it shows the quality of depth that they have that other NFL teams only wish they had.
And it's the combination too. We've run a lot of combinations on the offensive line this year, more than any other NFL team, Pickle. And we've seen combinations that worked, and we've seen combinations that didn't work as well. And I think this particular combination, when you put Curhan next to Corbett, that those two work well together. We saw in a previous game where we had Zavala beside Corbett that it wasn't as effective. And we've also seen where you put Cade Mays beside Zavala, and that duo works well together. So it's really interesting to me with all the different offensive line combinations that we've run this season, which ones actually work and which ones aren't as effective. I knew one thing: if we were at full strength and we had Robert Hunt back, our rushing yards would be different than they are today, because that offensive line at full strength is a different animal compared to what we rolled out there yesterday. And it was still enough to beat the best team in the NFC, guys. We got to give
I
a
agree,
shout out
Deeze.
to those coaches. You got a guards coach or an
Absolutely.
inside line coach, and then you got a tackles coach.
Yeah,
Whatever they're
absolutely.
doing, do not change it, because it is
They're
working
doing
Exactly.
a
great.
phenomenal
Exactly.
job,
And
top to
and
bottom.
yeah, and shout out to a former coach we had here who went to coach for the Jaguars last year. Turned out to be a good idea for him to do. He's got them playing good. But I really do like how we're teaching our offensive linemen. I think we can build on. I think there's so much here that we can build on to have major success in future years. And I do like how Dan and Dave aren't pressing the issue cord. Uh 910 Panther fan says, will Isaiah Simmons have an impact to stay on the roster when he plays? Well, he did play some Sunday, uh, but it was just as a reserve, a little bit on special teams role. Um, with the activation or the of suspension of Morig, the Panthers have to make a corresponding move to replace to put Morig on the active roster, and they have 1 day to do that. So you'll probably see some sort of cut tomorrow to do that. Don't be surprised. I don't know who that would be, but they have to make a corresponding move tomorrow. Uh, so we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know where they would go either. That's a good question. Where are they going to go with that?
They could just release Isaiah Simmons. He just got here, but who knows? Who knows the route they go? I'll say this: Hunter Renfro and my guy James Mitchell has both been inactive for several weeks. So uh, the decision where they go, uh, I'm sure they would do what they feel is the best for the Panthers. So um,
Yeah, the Mitchell one, that would hurt my feelings a little bit. I
right,
like him going
I,
into the future, but I like Simmons going into the future too. I just feel like if we're
right,
growing and developing players, maybe somebody like Simmons, who's had some chances in the NFL already and
right.
didn't really take advantage of them, maybe he can take advantage of them
Uh-huh.
here. Is something I'm thinking, Kyle. So I think
Right,
that's a good question. What will Simmons do here? Does he get an opportunity? Do they believe in him enough to give him more of a chance and give him an opportunity to grow and develop within this team and on this defense? Because we're seeing guys grow and develop on this defense that were undrafted, to be quite honest, and they're playing very well. So go figure all that. But lucky for us that we
right,
decided to hang on to Avero and that continuity mattered more than what happened last season, because it played out well for us. They knew what they were doing. We
right.
were wrong. We were wrong on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, Nick Scott was just Johnny on the spot. Shout out to him. But he was a Johnny on the spot who did his job. And there's been plenty of Johnny on the spots who don't do their job. He just happened to do his job. Derek Brown played an unbelievable game yesterday. Um, I did go to NFL.com and I had to Google it, but I did vote for him and a few other Panthers for the Pro Bowl this year.
I did too.
I don't
I
often do that,
voted for
but
Bryce Young for the
yes,
ESPN thing on Monday
I,
Night
I,
Football tonight too.
I'm glad y'all are talking about that because as I'm looking at my feed right now, it says Kay Adams said Derek Brown is my defensive player of the year,
Yep,
and guess who retweeted that? Derek Brown himself
right,
liked it and retweeted that. I like that.
right.
I
And
like that.
uh,
she ain't lying.
J.C.
If he was
Horn,
anywhere else, he would be
right?
getting that type of love.
J.C. Horn didn't play yesterday, but he right now is leading the corners in the Pro Bowl voting. So, um, something I want to bring up though, guys. I was watching some clips today and I heard something and it almost brought a tear to my eye. I heard the "Keep Pounding" chant, and then I dug a little deeper and found that toward the end of the game in the fourth quarter, when the going was tough, the crowd started chanting "Chuba, Chuba. So imagine being at Bank of America Stadium, and it was a light crowd anyway due to the weather, but keep pounding and Chuba chants were widely reigned. You got to love that.
Yeah, he's the heart and soul of this team. I mean, look, did you hear what Rico Dowdle had to say about him after the game? He said that he's never seen anybody that works as hard as Chuba does. He's never seen anyone that's always the first one on the practice and the last one off a practice field. I mean, the guy's always in the facility, just like that. What you shared with me earlier, Bryce saying, "Hey, give me a hug before you leave, Chuba. You never leave," you know.
Yeah,
And just like in the blueprint, they showed that Chuba was like living in the facility. I mean, he embodies
right.
what leadership for the
Yes,
Panthers.
exactly.
And if it wasn't for Chuba, who knows where our culture would be for this team? Maybe say we picked up Rico Dowdle and we said, all right, well, we don't need Chuba anymore. Well, maybe it would have destroyed everything that we built. You know, they talked about how Mike Jack was influential as well to this team in the direction that it's going. They said Corey Thornton just watched what Mike Jack did as how to train and how to take care of your body and how to be a professional. And that's what made Corey Thornton as good as he has been this year. So it's I guess it's just kind of rolling downhill, pickle with the culture and the work ethic and how to do
Right.
this and how to be a professional. And it's great to see. We've been waiting for so long.
Yes, yes, we have, and I'll just say this.
Yes, yes.
Uh, yeah, the snack yesterday clearly shows Cuba and Rico almost evenly split carries, and Chuba had a better day. But um, wasn't just quiet about it. He had some active games himself, an active day, yes. And I said all that to say I like how Dave Canales kept the passing, but he made it such a balanced offense that I personally think that the Rams defense couldn't get hold on what the Panthers were doing. Y'all get that feeling too?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been telling you that Dave Canales is growing game by game. I've been
Right,
trying to explain with you to be patient with Dave and what he's doing. He's not perfect. He does make mistakes. And shout out to you for pointing them out. You should point them out to Panthers fans.
hmm
They should know the truth. And fans should have to deal with the truth. It is what it is. But what I've been seeing is he'll make mistakes, but then the next week he goes out there and he tries to correct them. Even if what he does isn't the right thing, he's trying to get it right.
right,
And this running back rotation has gone from one series from you, one series for him, which was silly, to what it was yesterday. And it was amazing yesterday. It was inside runs for Rico with a few of his favorite toss plays mixed in because he likes a few of those toss pitches to the outside
right,
with the guard pulls from the opposite direction, from the opposite side of the line. He really likes those plays. They work those in there, and they worked in some plays to Chuba to give him the opportunity to get downfield. And we saw that with that 33-yard touchdown reception. We also saw it towards the end of the game, or in the third quarter especially, where the Panthers barely let the Rams hold the ball. We shoved it down their throats the
right,
entire third quarter, and of course it decided to rain then too. And you were talking about the fans getting into it. I can only imagine being at the bank during that game where it's kind of sparse, but the fans are loud. You know, it's not like the
right,
LA fans really traveled into Charlotte and took over the stadium. That's not the case for that team. It is for some other ones like the Bills, but not for the Rams. And our Panthers fans stood in the rain and watched us take over in the third quarter by running the football and letting that be the identity of this team. And just to wrap it up, I think that's humbling in a way to Dave Canales, a guy that wants to
absolutely,
throw the football down the field, a guy that wants to use his wide receiver weapons, and the fact that him and Brad Idzik are kind of pros in being wide receiver coaches and developing wide receivers. But he said, you know what? We are the Carolina Panthers. We have two great running backs, and it's a blessing. And they used it the right way yesterday. Now, I hope all the Panthers fans see how important it is in such a long NFL season to have two very capable running backs on the roster.
absolutely, absolutely. And something interesting that Canales said today. He said that when they mentioned the screen pass for the touchdown, uh, Canales said it was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. meaning that all of Chuba's yards on the receiving touchdown technically became running yards because it was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. So that's
It's basically a
interesting. I
toss
never,
play, and it would still be a run. Yeah.
yeah, I just never knew that or forgot about it. So that's very interesting.
He was hauling ass. I think y'all pointed out that
Yeah,
he's looking more healthy and has a serious burst. He looks faster now than I've ever seen him.
that's a
Honest
fact.
to God, true.
If Dave calls plays like he did in this game, like he did in the Falcons game, I'd even argue like he did in the Cowboys game. If he calls the game like that, Bryce Young is going to shine as long as he don't turn the ball over like he did yesterday. And if he does that, this team literally can be lethal on offense. I trust our defense enough to keep us in the ball game like they did yesterday as well. And as long as we do that, I truly, like I said yesterday to y'all, I really do believe that we could win any football game against any team. I do believe that.
What about those
Right,
fourth down play calls, Jake? That shit was nuts.
right.
Getting
I
touchdowns
mean,
on fourth down twice.
that, and the way he called them plays too on fourth down,
Yeah.
like that's what I'm saying. Dave Canales has opened up his playbook. He is calling the game like I want. I've been asking him to do it, and and look, I've shouted him out every time he's done that. It just seems like we've had an inconsistent year with him at certain times, and I hope this is a Dave Canales, this is a Bryce Young led team that we keep saying on a regular basis.
Absolutely. D Money, my friend, how are you?
Yo, what's going on, my Panther family?
What's up,
What's
brother?
going on,
What
D?
up?
Blue and black attack. Victory Monday.
Yes, sir. That's
And
a fact.
I just feel like it's something like me and Deeze have talked about off camera about like the roller coaster we've been on and how you can't have a pulse to a degree. Like if you don't get excited, even like with the losses, and that might be why I can take the losses kind of with a grain of salt. It's because I just know there's a bounce back. They keep showing there's a bounce back after each adversity and so forth. Like this team, 5 to 6 years down the line, is going to be a team that Panther fans talk about. And the reason why they're going to talk about them because this was that year. You know, some might argue and say last year was that year, like was the really beginning. But I think it was this year because the main thing that we've seen so far this year is that culture has been established. The culture, you could tell they might not have the identity or quite know their identity or don't want to accept their identity. You take it for however you want to go, but the one thing about it is they have a culture. And these guys are fighting for each other. They have done an exemplary job on the phrase next man up. And that has been like probably one of the most amazing things for us because one thing as a franchise in the last couple of years is depth has been an issue. But this year, it just seems like the next guy has been able to do a suitable job or exceed expectations when they've had to fill in. And that's also a culture thing. So, like, I'm happy. I'm happy that the fan base is happy. I had tuned into a whole nother podcast yesterday. I couldn't believe it. They were actually arguing and we won. Like, they was going crazy. Like, I had to get out of there. But it's just a beautiful time, like when you can go to work or you can get up on a Monday and you can know that you one of them teams that when you turn on ESPN, they're gonna speak highly of, or you're getting around your other football friends and now you got something to talk about. All that stuff is great. It's the joy of football, and it's kind of what sparks the whole fanaticism. But I'm just gonna say right now, bye week, perfect time. Guys get to heal up. They can maybe even explore some things in the playbook they might hadn't been touching on. Maybe can touch up on that a little bit and get ready. And I just feel like where a lot of people think like the Saints game It's going to be difficult because of what happened last time. I really didn't think we came in with focus last time. I don't think we came with effort last time. And I think just off the embarrassment and flack that we took the last game, they're going to come locked in, and I believe we're going to be a problem for them boys down there in the boot. And you know, if you ain't with us now, you ain't welcome to the boot.
Parade. Hell yeah! Shout out to D Money. That's right. That's right.
Keep pounding, brother.
Great stuff, D.
Wonderful D Money. Uh, yes, sir, folks. And one thing I want to shout out an article put out by Mike Santos through the Athletic, uh, and he talks about David Tepper, and he said, "Where's David Tepper? Has anyone seen him? No." Shout out to David Tepper. The Panthers are
Doing the right
winning,
thing.
and you step back. You know, you step out of the way. You let your coaches coach. You let your GMs GM, and you let your personnel do the personnel thing, and you go do the business side or something else. Shout out to Mr. Tepper, bro. We appreciate you. You know, we talk a lot about players developing. We talk about coaches that need to develop. A while ago, Deeze talked about Canales developing into a great head coach and coordinate and head coach who calls plays and runs offense. And we talk a lot about Bryce Young development. We talked about Lathan Ransom development. Why not talk about the owner developing and learning how to be that owner? Shout out to that. We don't talk enough about that. Uh,
That's a killer point.
yeah,
Fantastic point, Pickle.
Santos pointed out that Jed York, uh, or the 49ers owner, had to learn in the 70s, had to learn how to get out of the way and let somebody else, let the coaches and GM do their thing. And it took them a while to do that. He talked about uh, Hunt, the owner for Kansas City, finally throwing the towel in. He hired Andy Reid and says, "You got complete control. If you need me, I'll be at the house." And he left. Since then, Kansas City's won a lot of Super Bowls, and they probably won't make the playoffs this year. But you know, all that being said, shout out to David Tepper for learning, developing as a correct owner, and keep pounding.
Pickle, we said that he would get his hands off a little more once we started winning, and now that we have a winning record into December, I don't think you'll see him again unless we're raising some kind of hardware. But you will see him again, and it's going to be in a positive manner, and I'm excited
Right,
for him.
right, absolutely.
I think the negative shit, unless we something happens way down the road, you ain't gonna see him much anymore, and that's all right. I think that's how he wants it at this point too. I never thought I would be able to say that.
Right, absolutely.
Proud of him too, just like you, brother.
And uh, folks, the way the let me pull this up real quick. The way the NFL um standings are. No, let's do this. We'll go to the NFL playoff picture. I want to take a quick look at that. Uh, and
I had a question about the
yeah,
tiebreakers,
go
and
ahead.
one of you guys on the panel knows this. Why Pickle pulls this image up. Um, it's got to do with, like, say we win the division. If we win the division and we get our home playoff game and we advance, and let's say we somehow end up with the opportunity to go in against the Rams again, would our head to head matchup win matter and give us a home game over them with a better record? I guess is my question.
No, it's the best record.
It's the best
If they
record in the
got the
regular
they got
season.
the best record, they get in the home game.
Yeah,
The
that's
head to
what it
head
comes
matchup
down.
don't matter.
It don't
Yeah.
matter. The only way it would matter is if we have the same exact record, and then it would matter. We would get the nod.
Right over somebody we've already beat. Right,
Yeah, over somebody we already beat.
right.
And if you look, I mean, if you look at Green Bay and the Cowboys, that tie, I hate. Like I said it earlier, there should never be a tie in football. I'm sorry. I think that's idiotic. That's even an opportunity a game to end in a tie. I think they should get rid of it. Uh, and honestly, it does affect playoff scenarios.
Hmm.
That's another bad thing about a tie because I don't know exactly how that works out if a team has the same exact record but they have a tie. Like they could, I mean, I don't know if they can have the same exact record if that scenario happens, but I just think I don't like ties. I just don't.
Right, right. Like in this one right here, if you can see, the Bears are currently the best team in the number one seed.
Crazy.
And
Crazy. Yep.
why are they the number one seed? Because the Panthers beat the Packers, who are in their division, and we beat the Rams, who was the number one seed.
hmm
So Bears fans, you're welcome. You're
And the
welcome.
Bears beat the Eagles. That's the reason
And the
why they
Bears
got knocked
and
down.
the Bears beat the Eagles. So
The NFC North isn't that strong this year. Well, outside of Detroit, really, and it didn't seem like
right.
it ain't the same North.
Right. No, it's not. And Detroit is eight right now because if you talk about wild card right now, the Lions and the line right now, if the playoffs were today, the Lions, the Steelers, Kansas City are out of the playoffs, and the Vikings are completely out of the playoffs. And so it's going to be I think still think it's going to be a different playoffs. Right now the Panthers are 10th in that order. Uh, we do hold the tiebreaker over the Cowboys. Uh, but as percentage and who win and whatnot, uh, if the we do hold the tiebreaker over the Cowboys. So if our record is better than is the same record as the Cowboys, then we hold the tiebreaker.
Can you scroll? Can you scroll back down, Pickle? This is right after the Panthers. If you compare, look at the probability. If you compare it to the Chiefs, who have a worse record than we do, and they got the Denver Broncos in their division with only 2 losses and they won last night.
Right.
That is so crazy how there's different. How the probability is that much different from us than theirs.
Right.
Don't
And we
worry,
have the better
Jay.
record.
Don't worry, Jay. J Lo's getting divorced again, and I know we're gonna be okay, man.
He said J Lo's getting divorced
Well, good for J Lo.
again.
But
No, every year she gets divorced, we go to the Super Bowl.
Hey,
oh
how
well.
many rings does she got at this point, D?
That's not funny because she's got more than us.
I think she
Yeah.
got more than everybody in the NFL collectively, D.
Jesus. Jesus.
One thing I find is odd, and I don't really. I used to think I knew the answer to this. I don't really know anymore. The Ravens are 6-6. In all reality, they shouldn't be in the playoffs.
That division, I'm glad you brought that up. If you look at their division, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me when we made it to the playoffs that year with a losing record. How bad our division was that year.
Right.
Y'all remember that?
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
exactly what their division this year reminds me of.
Right. Right. And their division used to be what we would all call one of the strongest divisions, with the Steelers, the uh, the Ravens, and the
Cincinnati Bengals
Bengals
and the Browns.
and the Browns. But gracious, you can't hardly say that now. So, uh, but it's just going to be a wild playoffs this year, I think. And uh, uh,
I think it will be too. You're talking about a
yeah,
team like the Ravens. That team is loaded. That team is stacked. I mean, they've got a great
2014.
roster. The Ravens really do. I think they've got a great roster, and if it wasn't for the injuries to Lamar, they'd have a better record. They really would. And I think teams like that getting into the playoffs are pretty dangerous because they've shown that they could do it. They can do it before in the playoffs, and they very well may do it again once they get in. So, one of the things I find interesting, Pickle, with this playoff hunt is how did the NFC South draw the best division in football for everybody to play? Like, surely the
right,
NFL didn't know that. They based it off of last year.
right,
But Isn't that just the most Panthers thing ever? We draw
Yes.
the NFC South draws the best division in football. We get to play every one of those teams.
Right. And you said that. Geez, let me tell you, I was reading a Bears fan tweet today, and I don't know. I started reading anyway. I got caught up in Bears fans thanking the Panthers for helping them get there, and a couple of them kept saying the same comment. I really thought it was funny. He said the Bears thing to do, and then the Bears things to do would be losing to the Panthers in the playoffs. I thought I wouldn't mind that. I mean, really, I wouldn't mind that. I could see that, but I wouldn't mind that at all. So
Now that it has been spoken, it shall be done.
that's amen, bro. I
I
appreciate
was
it.
seeing Eagle fans thank us, and I was like, "Why in the hell are you thanking us?" Right? I didn't get. And we was getting thanks from across the league.
Right,
It seemed like
right,
from
right,
fans. It's coming out the woodworks. Thank you,
right.
Panthers fans.
Yeah. And hey, I even saw a couple fans say shout out to the true Panther fans who never gave up, who never gave up on their team and never gave up on the quarterback, never gave up on winning and desiring to be a winning season. And I have to say that shout out to the Panther fans who have fought, who have maybe argued on Twitter, who have been bashed, called names, kind of humiliated at times, all for the sake to get to an opportunity to be serious, uh, to be in serious playoff works. Shout out to all you Panther fans out there who are veterans in battles that a lot of folks don't realize. Keep pounding, boys. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing about this
Well
schedule,
said.
Pickle.
Yeah,
Those early games against the Jaguars and the
right,
early game against the Patriots,
right.
nobody thought that those guys were going to be
Yes,
division winners. Nobody
right,
thought that. Our
right.
schedule is actually so incredibly hard that we
Yes,
should be battle tested and ready for the playoffs
right.
by the time we reach the end of the season. Like we really
Absolutely.
should, because every one of these teams is literally vying for a playoff
Right.
spot that's been on the Panthers schedule this year beyond the Saints and the Falcons.
Absolutely. See, it goes back to that same old thing that people tell you, and then when it happens, people say, "Nah, don't worry about it, bro. We'll get it better." But reality is, every single game on that schedule matters. Every at some point or some another, every game matters. That's why every kick matters, every pass matters, every run matters. In some way, shape, or form, it matters. So, you know, we uh, that's absolutely the truth. And I kind of wouldn't have it any other way. I know other sports do it differently, but I truly wouldn't have it any other way. I truly like what the NFL does. I would probably critique the playoffs a little bit if I was in charge, but I can't guarantee it'd be right. I might critique it and realize I messed it up.
It's just interesting how it shaked out this season to where
Right,
we played the best division in football. The two games that Panthers fans really thought were easy games, they weren't. They're division winners. They're guys that are way out in front in their division with the lead and great records for this year. You just never know how teams are going to turn around, and that applies to us as too. We've turned around a lot more than I thought we would. I've really only viewed this team as a 7-win team all year, and
right,
it's been easy to go with the flow, the ups and downs, just thinking it's a rebuilding year and that this team is really only good enough to win 7 games. But that's not the case. The roster is better than what it seems to be on paper. It's much better, and it's much
right,
deeper too. To be honest, the depth has really shown a lot to us, especially yesterday. That defense coming through against with the best, most potent offense in the NFL, and still finding a way to come away with 3 turnovers with guys just stepping up and filling the holes. Just really impressed by what this Panthers team has been able to do this season. And I know I don't want to brag on them too much because we know what happens in 2025. We show up one week and we don't show up the next. But I feel like we really, after that game, we should be close to that point where we know what level and what brand of football we can play as the Carolina Panthers. And moving forward, we should take each game serious and don't take any of them for granted, including the coaches, right, and the play calling scheme or whatever it may be. Preparation going into the game. I think we've got all those things now down now, and we really should be giving it our best on Sunday for the rest of this season. And I'll tell you what, Pickle, if it all falls apart and we don't make the playoffs, I'm still happy with the performance of this team in 2025. We've broken so
Absolutely.
many franchise records this year, records that I didn't think we were going to touch. I didn't have any of these on my bingo card. Dowdle breaking McCaffrey's scrimmage record. Our defense breaking the rushing record for over the 2 games, I believe it was. And then, of course, Bryce Young breaking Cam Newton's passing record. None of that was on my bingo card for 2025. So shout out to this team and shout out to them for the way they've kept pounding.
Fact. That's a fact. One thing I want to bring up real quick, y'all, and uh, I think it's important we're going to talk about this today. Adam Thielen was released by the Vikings per his request. Now, Adam states in his statements, you can find this on Twitter. If you search Adam Thielen, um, he has told folks that after the end of this season, he's going to retire. So, but they've released him. Adam's hoping to get on a team with serious playoff aspirations so he can play in the playoffs, maybe gets his last hurrah opportunity to get a ring, which I respect that. The question though, we all know the history of Adam Thielen and the Panthers. The trade that some liked and some didn't like and what we got. Let's be honest. Diesel skills. Would you would you have a desire for the Panthers to re-sign Adam Thielen?
At this point, if you had asked me this question in the beginning of the season, I'd say yes. I would
Right,
absolutely say yes. And I didn't even think we should trade him because I was worried about what might happen. But with what I've seen now, with what we're able to do with first and
right,
second year receivers,
right,
absolutely not. These young guys need the reps. Coker needs the reps this season. Leggett needs the reps this season. Jimmy Horn needs the reps this season. These guys are performing well for Bryce, and Coker had his best game of his career yesterday. So no
right.
way I could see putting a 35-year-old wide receiver in front of somebody like Coker who's really coming to his own right now. And
Yes,
all the he's got a lot of fans, all the cokeheads out there. Shout out to you. Big game by Coker yesterday. Huge game. And that one-on-one on the outside where Bryce dropped it in there, you talk
right,
about a dot. All he did was reach his little fingers out from his chest, and that ball fell directly into his hands.
right,
What a pass! And
right.
the accuracy on that in stride, and he just drug that defender into the end zone. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we've been waiting on. Coker needs to clean up his off-season
Right.
regimen, and then
Hmm.
we can look for big things from him year three, 2026. Big
Absolutely,
things.
absolutely. I heard several folks commenting today about Coker, and they said that they're hoping that he can get with some current NFL wide receivers and do some workouts with them in the off season. That will help him tremendously learn how to do the stuff that he needs to do to have a long term success in the NFL. And I applaud that mightily. I saw other receivers do that over the time, and I absolutely love that idea. Jake, my friend, what's your opinion? Would you re-sign Adam Thielen?
I would not, and Dee's alluded to it. I like the youth movement that we have right now. We talked about earlier in the season. I know there was people out there that was worried about it. I think the slow start day we had with some of our younger wide receivers. I do. We talked about it early in the season. I think a lot of it had to do with preseason reps. I don't think they got enough reps in preseason, and I kind of think that reflected into the season how they didn't shine out the gate, so to speak. So I mean, I'm still all for this youth movement. And look, I don't wish ill on Adam Thielen. I hope that man but the best in his journey. But sadly, I don't think his journey is the best fit for us right now.
Right.
I like I said, I like this youth movement that we got going on.
Absolutely, I do too. Cole, my friend, what do you think? Do you think the
I'm
Panthers?
I'm right around the table with y'all. I have no interest whatsoever in re-signing Adam Thielen to this team. We are good.
Absolutely.
No G baby. I'm not getting rid of extra lotion for now or for Adam. No sir.
Right.
I was
We're
gonna
not
say
doing
G
that.
Baby feels differently, Cole.
Yeah. G Baby's always replaced and Xavier Leggett. Come on, man. Extra lotion. That's disrespectful, man. Come on, bro.
He, but yeah, put a little bit of respect on his name, G baby. Like Excel might have not have had any stats really out the gate yesterday, but the dude was
Yeah.
blocking his ass off.
Right.
He
Right.
was.
Right. And besides, if some people have hopes that we'll draft another wide receiver, I don't know about that. Xavier Leggett is still a first round wide receiver. And as I said on a different show today, I thoroughly don't believe the coaching staff or the front office has seen enough of Xavier Leggett to be tired of him. But brother, you be you, brother, and we'll all see what happens. D Money.
Exactly. He might be right in the end. So yeah,
Yeah, I
but
mean
You
anything
never
is
ain't,
know.
right.
ain't
D,
nothing wrong with it.
that's it. D Money, my friend. What would you bring back Adam?
No, I mean, let's ask ourselves a question, right?
Right.
For every team that's contending in the like contending right now for the playoffs,
Right.
do you see them signing Adam Thielen?
I
I
don't.
don't.
No.
Uh, none. No, I can't think of one. And that's no disrespect to Adam Thielen. But while he was on that Minnesota roster, I don't think he had over 8 catches this year. Okay.
Right.
So I don't know what he would be there for depth. And I feel like we're right on that end. And then also like the guy wanted out. The guy wanted out. So now he wanna come back and we don't have no key injuries or nothing that God forbid, thank God that we don't in that room, that we don't even have to make that a consideration. I think really it's gonna be a thing that he's gonna take some fillers for about 3 or 4 days, see that there's probably not a real market, and he's
Uh huh.
just gonna go ahead and retire a little early. That's what I think.
Right.
But if he does find another job, God bless him.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think somebody somewhere will pick him up. Uh, I just don't know that it's going to be where he wants.
It probably
And
Buffalo. I'll be honest
it
with
may
you,
be.
Pickle.
It may be because the Buffalo still has playoff aspirations, and they also are up there, kind of going to get in the playoffs. They do need help at receiver, so it could be Buffalo.
No, that's a good idea. The first thing I thought Pickle for whatever reason was a Chiefs because he
Right?
mentioned it last off season that he was
Yes,
interested in
I
Chiefs.
thought of
So I
that
thought
too.
maybe he might go there. That's the only thing that crossed my mind.
I thought that too, and then I thought, well, right now Kansas
They
City's
would have to
not
win out.
really looking good to make the playoffs. But I don't want to say somebody won't make the playoffs if they're still in that running because one never knows. But
Yeah.
uh,
Especially this year with the way the playoffs are lining up. It's
right,
wild.
absolutely,
I was going to say with the referees for Kansas City, no telling what could happen. I mean, some
that's
some
you're
poor
right.
opposing team could get 37 false starts in a row or something.
I'm glad you brought that up because I've seen somebody had like how analytics is. Somebody brought up that the Kansas City has not been getting their calls this year like they did last year or previous years. They've been getting undercalled to the analytics. So I mean, hey, I mean, I'm kind of happy that what comes around goes around.
Right, that's fact. That's
Yeah,
fact.
hey, Pickle, this reminds me of something, and I'll let you lead us out of here if you want, or wherever you want
Right.
to go with this afterwards. But I wanted to say that since this is the deal with the show, I got something I'm salty about.
All right, go ahead, brother. Speak
I'm
up.
salty with the words of Troy Aikman. I heard Troy Aikman say something about that the referees were clearly helping the Carolina Panthers yesterday. Well, let me tell you something, Troy. The Carolina Panthers had 7 penalties for 70 yards from the referees yesterday. And do you know how many penalty yards the Rams had? One penalty for 5 yards. I saw a whole lot of holding on my boy Nick Scorton yesterday, and didn't none of it draw a flag, not a single flag, and he was getting held the entire game. So, Mr. Troy Aikman, you need to deal with it, sir. I'm salty about your words about my Carolina Panthers.
Amen, brother.
Pick,
Ice your
pick,
ass up, Roger.
hey, Pickle and Cole both
Yeah,
knows.
dude.
Pickle and Cole both knows that I was giving it hell in the in the damn game, and I was so
Loved every
pissed at
minute
the
of it.
referees. I was seeing red.
Yep.
The fact that it took a delay of game for the Rams to get their first
Right.
penalty after, like how Deeze just said about Nick scored. I mean, I saw Ashawn Robinson being held, Derek Brown being held, and I'm not talking about one or twice. I'm talking about a lot of the game they was being held, and there was no call for that. And I'm like, okay,
Absolutely.
so we're gonna have to do this shit ourselves, and I'm just glad we did.
Somebody
Absolutely.
really needs to review it. Our defensive line gets held like I've never seen before, and they just stop calling it, especially Derek Brown, sometimes by two and three people at a time, and they still don't call the shit.
Yeah,
Well,
so that
you
that
know,
game yesterday. Go ahead, D.
I'm sorry. Well, it's kind of that thing when you're not the flexy sexy team, you're not the bell of the ball, nothing invested in you. The referees kind of can pull on you, and we've been pulled on so long. Excuse me, they're used to us being pulled on. The thing that's great about us right now, because we're finding a way to fight through it. And I guess to give some referees some bail. If you go the last two seasons, well, I'll say 2.5 seasons, we were very undisciplined on the offensive line and defensive line. That, yeah, you could have started the trend on picking on us. But now, the way we fight through things, we play through the whistle and everything else. After a while, they're gonna have to start respecting the calls on us every aspect. Cause they don't even give Bryce love. They have Bryce helmet halfway in the dirt, and there won't even be a flag.
Right. And it's
D Money, he's took
unfair.
a couple shots I didn't like this season too, where he didn't get the flag because
Right.
we damn sure have got those
It,
flags hitting quarterbacks.
it's unfair, but the better we get and the more notoriety we get, the more calls we'll get. That's unfair, but it is reality in the NFL. Um, you know, remember a ref once told Cam Newton, "You're not old enough to get that penalty." That's what he meant. He didn't mean age wise. He meant you're not experienced enough in the NFL. You haven't won enough in the NFL to get that penalty. And that's how the NFL works. And it's not fair. It shouldn't be that way. But that exactly is how it works.
That referee
Um,
sure got fired.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah, he picked up that flag on Bryce. Remember, Bryce got shoved out of
Right.
bounds really violently, and
Right.
then they picked up the flag. After they reviewed the flag and picked it up. I mean, come on,
Right.
guys, what is that?
Right. And
They,
then later on, when we shoved a Rams player out of bounds, they threw the flag. That's bullshit. Uh,
yeah, Incun got that one in the
yeah.
beginning, the very
And
first play of the game. Yeah,
and you know what? You know when the Panthers last two games, we've got very little flags thrown against the other teams when it's blatantly obvious they have penalties. That's a conspiracy against the NFL. And shout out to my Panthers for rising up. Our Panthers just didn't beat the Rams, folks. They beat the officials, the Rams, and sometimes they beat the coaches. I NFL don't want to see the Panthers win. But the way the NFL game is set up, if we walk out there with the W, ain't a damn thing the NFL can do about it. But respect us. Sometimes, if you want respect, you have to reach out and grab it by the neck until it can't move. Then you'll get respect. Um, and folks, if you don't like it, deal with it. All right, that's just how it is in the NFL. I don't like how the Panthers are disrespected, but the Carolina Panthers are going to have to, as I was telling Jake, sometimes the coach has to step out there on the line and tell that referee, you best be calling them fucking plays if they're there, bro. Ain't no use to you not seeing that and you don't throw that flag. Sometimes that head coach has to call out that referee. Might not like it, but you have to do that. And it might cost you a penalty, maybe a fine. But if you keep doing it and you stand by your ground, you'll get respect and they'll start paying attention. Folks, that's all I've got for today. Cole, you got anything you want to say before we shut her down?
Another great show as always. We're back at it on Thursday. Appreciate you, Pickle. Appreciate everybody. D Money, Deeze, Jake. Love y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Uh-huh. Jake, you got anything you want to say before we shut her down?
I just want to say keep pounding, y'all. And look, we got playoff hopes in December's, man. In
That's it.
December, I love it, y'all.
Keep
That's all you
pounding,
can
boys.
ask
That's
for,
it.
Jake.
Uh, these skills, brother. You got anything you need to say?
The 2025 Carolina Panthers are a good football team and probably playoff bound, believe it or not. I want everyone to like, subscribe, and share. Make this journey easier for us here on YouTube. Help us any way you can. It's free to hit the like button, it's free to share it. Let other people know that the Blue and Black Attack is here and ready to talk about these Carolina Panthers. We'll be back Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you, Pickle.
Dee Money, you got anything you need to say, brother?
Keep pounding, family.
Keep pounding, boys.